We're going to have a circus right here in the toy shop.
Oh, it's marvelous. Oh, I love it. That's great. That's great.
You just heard the voice of Chuck White as one of the many puppets that he portrayed on Luci's Toy Shop, the longest running children's show. It aired right here on 10TV back in the 60s and early 70s.
Chuck's connection started much earlier when his career at WBNS went from copywriter to news anchor. And as Chuck transitioned into the role of community affairs director, he really created a spirit of philanthropy for everyone and every organization he touched. And we're taking a moment today at 4 to really reflect on the legacy of a man who was just so dear to so many of us and many of you at home, and the fact that I feel like we're touching royalty here, because these are the original puppets that Chuck White portrayed. And you remember Luci's Toy Shop, Dom?
I was a little boy in the 60s, and I was in this studio, and you know, Mr. Tree and Luci's Toy Shop was everything to me. And you know, here's Stanley Mouse, Dragon, Walrus, and Pierre the dog, and of course Chuck was also Mr. Tree. And I'll never forget, I started here March 30th, 1981, and one of the first people I met was Chuck White. And, you know, I always told Chuck he was a mentor to me. He really was. And, you know, he taught me so much about television, but he taught me so much about being a good person. And, you know, I did a lot of stuff with him with the 10TV Family Fund, and we raised money for, you know, the folks that, you know, were struggling, and raised food for them and everything. And, you know, I just remember Chuck and his beautiful wife, Bernice, and heck, his son, Michael, was an intern here. But, you know, when this guy's a living legend. I mean, he was just a legend. And when I saw him, and anytime I ever needed anything, Chuck was good and advice. And yeah, this was my childhood. And
well, it's such a legacy. And when we think of children's programming, we're talking about lessons and memories that shape who you are. So what do you think still stays with you when you see these faces right here?
I still dream that I'm sitting watching Wake Up Mr. Tree. I mean, I think about that, and I just think about the lessons they were. I mean, it was about being kind to each other and being good, and you know, I loved that show, and I was just so excited. The one sad thing that happened is they would give a puppet away, and they had this trolley that would go around, and if the trolley went off, you got the puppet. And I didn't get my puppet that day. I wanted it, but, you know, I'm a better person for knowing Chuck White and for having Chuck in my life. My condolences to his family. His boys loved him. They worshiped him. And Chuck, I know you're with Bernice. I know you're with my Maria. We miss you, buddy.
We sure do. And you know, Chuck's family, they were so proud of him. And like Dom said, he was a dad to everyone, but he was certainly a family man, and they wanted to share how much they were proud of his contributions. And they shared this statement with us, saying that the simple kindness that he showed to everyone that he met, and that his voice and spirit really became a familiar part of Central Ohio's story for many generations of viewers, and his memory will remain a lasting source of joy and inspiration. So, you know, Erin, I know you're fairly new to this market, but for a lot of our new co-workers even, they said after hearing these stories of Chuck from people like Dom and everyone else, they could really sense that legacy.
Yeah, and just,
that
I mean, how incredible he was, and just the impact he had on the community here, and just, I mean, learning about what he did was just incredible.